have to unmute the room.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that,
You can do roll call.
Jasmine just walked in, so roll call.
Member Acevas? Member Breen? Member Brown?
Here.
Member Coca?
Present.
Member Dukes? Chair Felice Barros?
Present.
Member Hunt?
Present.
Member Macia Villa? Member Melendrez? Member Father Raphael?
Present.
Member Nelberg? We do have quorum.
Okay, with that, the pledge of allegiance. Father coming back, would you mind leading us? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next, the oath of office.
So for oath of office, we do have Father Raphael joining us today. So Father Raphael, if you stand and then raise your right hand for me, please, and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Pereira,
do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the Constitution and government of the state of Nevada against all enemies,
enemies,
whether foreign or domestic, and that I will bear true faith, allegiance, and loyalty to the same, any ordinance, resolution, or any law
any,
of any state notwithstanding,
any,
and that I will well and faithfully perform all the duties of a member of the Southern Nevada Community Health Center Governing Board, in which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
That was my first fun part of the day. Now comes my second fun part of the day, the recognitions. So the Southern Nevada Health District, we got Manager of the Year and Employee of the Year, our staff did. So Bernie Maley is the Manager of the Year. Sarah Humphreys is Employee of the Year for 2005. And then we got Employee of the Month for January 2026. And I'm gonna feel bad if I'm murdering your name, and I'm so sorry. Rona Ordea?
On it.
Okay.
Mhm.
See, sorry. I'm just Southern Nevada Health District Community Employment Engagement Committee, Christopher Cooper. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Fionn Dela Cruz. Why don't you do these, Father? You know?
Well, Liliana Dominguez, Gina Fernandez, Jose Garcia, Jorge, Jennifer Loizaga, and Mariel Marcos.
And then we also have the Las Vegas TGA Part A HIV/AIDS Program, Clark County Certificate of Quality Improvement Leadership, Ronnie Soy and Brenda O'Toole.
Yes, so I will read a little excerpt for each of these individuals are being recognized today into the record. So for Bernie Mealy for Manager of the Year 2025, Bernie Mealy is an exceptional leader who constantly embodies SNHD's care values. She's dedicated to our mission, invests deeply in her team's growth, and leads with accountability, integrity, and compassion. Bernie fosters a supportive environment where every voice is valued. Her commitment was especially evident during a Title X site visit, where she worked tirelessly to meet every requirement while still managing clinic operations, never seeking recognition, only lifting up her team. Bernie's leadership, work ethics, and genuine care make her a truly deserving recipient of SNHD's Manager of the Year 2025. Next up is Sarah Humphreys as SNHD's Employee of the Year 2025. Sarah's dedication as a community health worker was powerfully demonstrated the morning she encountered a homeless man in a wheelchair outside of Vital Records. Noticing his distress, she stopped and asked how could she help. Learning he was trying to obtain his birth certificate to rebuild his life, she immediately brought him inside for support. While clinic staff treated several infectious diseases or infectious conditions, Sarah worked vigorously behind the scenes to secure housing, connecting him to social service programs, and even finding a temporary foster home for his emotional support dog. Her compassion, accountability, and commitment to excellence exemplifies SNHD's care values and reflects why she was selected as Employee of the Year 2025. Okay, now we have Rona Ordona. She's been recognized as SNHD's Employee of the Month for January 2026. We are honored to recognize Rona Ordona as SNHD's January Employee of the Month for her exceptional work as a retention and care CHW for Ryan White program. Rona consistently demonstrates professionalism, compassion, and dedication to client-centered care. She supports clients with registration, appointments, medication assistance, and follow-up, extending her care throughout home visits to engage those who have fallen out of care. Rona excels in helping clients facing homelessness, mental health challenges, substance abuse, or complex social barriers. Her commitment is reflected in the trust she builds, highlighted by clients who seek her out simply to thank her. Rona positively contributes to the strengthening teams operation and embodies SNHC's care values every day. Congratulations, Rona. Next up, we have Southern Nevada Community Health Center's Employee Engagement Committee. Again, it's Chris, Farron, Lillian, Gina, Jose or Pepe, Jennifer, and Marielle. On behalf of FQHC's leadership team, we extend our sincere appreciation to the Southern Nevada Community Health Center's Employee Engagement Committee for your dedicated efforts to enhance the employee experience for team and members working at the Decatur and Fremont Health Centers. Your strong collaboration with leadership has strengthened workplace culture and created a more supportive, engaging environment for all employees. Through your committed fundraising and thoughtful coordination, you have made possible meaningful celebrations and engagement initiatives, including holiday events, National Health Center Week activities, team building opportunities, and activities that foster positive relationships. Your professionalism, initiative, and dedication to staff well-being reflect true organizational excellence. We deeply thank all of the members for your contributions to the Employee Engagement Committee and for your contributions to continued service to your colleagues working alongside you in SNCHC. So we thank you all.
Say something really quickly.
Sure.
Your holiday party was really fun. So I enjoyed it. It was really well organized.
And our last recognition is for Ronnie and Brendan O'Toole for receiving the Las Vegas TGA Part A HIV program reward for Certificate of Quality Improvement and Leadership. The Las Vegas program formally recognizes Ronnie and Brennan for their outstanding leadership as the leads for all quality-related initiatives. They demonstrated exceptional collaboration, accountability, and professionalism through their quality improvement projects. Their consistency and willingness to participate in meaningful quarterly trainings and monthly meetings have significantly elevated the overall clinical quality management program in Ryan White. In recognition of the exemplified leadership in applying quality improvement tools, interpreting data, and driving meaningful collaborative improvements within the clinical quality management program, the Office of HIV proudly presented this acknowledgement. This recognition highlights the exemplary participation, strong collaboration, and unwavering commitment to quality. Thank you, Ronnie and Brennan, for your continued support and dedication towards developing and maintaining high-quality care in the Ryan White program. Thank you. So can we have Bernie come up and first take the photo with the board members and Randy?
Yeah. Congratulations. I think a couple of us are already.
Yeah, right.
And now we'll have Sarah come up.
Take the picture.
Now we'll have Rona come up and take a picture with the board members. And now we'll have the employee engagement committee come up. Chris, Farron, Lillian, Gina, Pepe, Jennifer, and Marielle.
Yeah. Who wants to be in the middle? You seem to be the man that likes to be attention. Yes, yeah. Normal, Maria, normal. Give me a couple of here. 2 rows. Yeah, 2 rows.
Okay, especially, I think.
Reach down. The way it absolutely so. Can I get?
Can we have Ronnie and Brennan please come up?
Come on in. Get in there next to father.
No, it's gonna be thin out.
Moving away from it? No, I'm just, oh, yeah. Okay, onward. First public comment.
Yeah, I see no one in the room for first public comment. And no one's online. Thank you.
All right, moving to adoption of the January 20th, 2026 agenda. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a second.
Jasmine Coca, I'll second the motion. I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Consent agenda. We have a motion to accept the consent. And actually, is there anybody who wants to remove anything from the consent agenda? Not hearing any. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Jose?
Do we have a second?
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next is to review, discuss, and accept the November 2025 year-to-date financial report.
Good afternoon. Hi. Welcome back. Madam Chair, members of the board, excuse the voice. So I'm presenting today the November year-to-date financial report. That is our results from July through November 30th of the current fiscal year. Our general fund revenue, which is our charges for services and other revenue, is at 16.33 million. That's compared to a budget of 16.28 million. So we actually have a favorable variance in that area. Our special revenue funds, our grants, we're at 2.02 million compared to a budget of 3.18 million. That's an unfavorable variance of 1.16 million. And on the next slide, I will point out a couple of things. With the special revenue funds, the revenue is directly related to the expenditures. So you'll see on the expense side that we're going to show a favorable variance on that side. So our total revenue is at 18.35 million compared to 19.46 million, an unfavorable variance driven by that special revenue funds. In our expense category, our salary, taxes, and benefits, we're at 5.88 million compared to a budget of 6.91 million. So there is the favorable variance of 1.03 million, which the favorable variance on this side and the unfavorable in the revenue kind of offset each other. Our other operating expense is at 11.91 million. That's compared to 12.95 million, a favorable variance of 1.04. And you'll see in a subsequent slide that that is related to our pharmacy supplies. Indirect cost and cost allocation. This is directly related to when we have if our grant funds are behind, then our cost allocation will be behind as well because it's related to expenses incurred. So our total expense is at 22.16 million compared to a budget of 25.22. So we have a favorable variance of 3.06, meaning that we are under budget. Our net position is at a $3.81 million deficit, and that is compared to what we would have budgeted at this time of 5.77 million. So that is a favorable variance of 1.96. So it means we're less negative than we anticipated. Any questions on that recap? And I apologize for this voice you're hearing. So this is a little bit of detail to go towards the overall view. So our charges for services actually includes our quarter one. So through September, our revenue, our charges for services are under, but we did book our first quarter write-offs. So anything that is over 12 months, we write off. And we used to wait until June 30th and do the whole year at once. So we're trying to get that on a quarterly basis so it spaces out across the year. And then we did receive this November. We are still getting some true up from our PPS rate. So we got our final PPS rate and then we got a revision that is coming through. So after June 30th, we did receive a few more look back payments for that. And so in the other, you can see that we're $554,000 better than we would have anticipated. And please remember the budget that we're showing here is our original adopted budget. So we have not brought forward our augmentation yet. For the first augmentation usually comes around this time. So we'll be bringing that forward. And you can see on the supplies line, we are back in August, we showed that we were actually the reverse. We were actually overexpended, and it's with the pharmacy. It is timing related. July is when we booked our inventory adjustment, and that had made us go negative, and now we're actually under budget in our expenditures, and a lot of that is related to timing. And that will also generate, on the next slide, you'll see that our pharmacy revenue is behind where we would have budgeted, but our expenses are also behind because the inventory is what drives the revenue. So overall, you can see that we are at that $1.9 million positive to what we would have anticipated being at this time. And then this is just graphical to show the components of our revenue and expenses. And you can see pharmacy with the pharmacy supplies and meds drives a big portion of the expenses as well as the revenue. And this chart shows the individual departments. You can see here where the pharmacy is lagging behind slightly, where the budget, we take that divide by 12 times the number of months that have elapsed. And that's not always with timing the best method of when things actually occur. So right now it's 433,000 behind, and I can show you on the next slide in our pharmacy, you can see that we're actually $920,000 behind in expenditures. So they are directly related. And part of on our expenditures, we did have a grant that we included some personnel in the original budget that we did not pursue. So in augmentation, we'll be taking that out, and then our grants should come more in alignment with when we take that revenue and the expense out, our revenues and expenses should come back into alignment. And we always put this information in for our patient encounters from the fiscal side of things, our year-over-year comparison, just to show that our the red is our encounters in fiscal year 26 compared to the blue, which is last fiscal year. And you can see we still have the period over period, it's a 15% year-over-year growth in total. And then most of the categories are up. We do have some movement between the categories. So you can see primary and preventative care are up, and that some of that is runoff, I guess, for lack of a better word, from some of the other areas as we're pushing people through the system. And then by clinic, both Maine and Fremont are both up in their encounters. And that's just the definitions of everything that's contained in the report. And then we have our 5 months of data. This is helpful when we're looking for any anomalies in the data, but we have by department, and then we also have by revenue and expense type, each month's activity that adds up to the year to date. Now, any questions?
Do any of the board members have any questions?
And great reports. And I think we're doing great with it versus the budget. I just have one question. I remember that one of the great achievement at that time was to bring the billing in-house, right? Now the question is, how are we doing with the billing and collections and accounts receivables?
I would say we're doing very well. Actually, the other revenue that you see here is what we call RAP, and that is from the PPS rate. Donna Butts is our revenue cycle manager, and she has done a wonderful job in getting on top of that and probably getting us to our final PPS rate. She has some activities in our strategic goals to maintain our AR balances. Right now, we are a little bit challenged in they're working a lot of denials right now with particular insurers, and a lot of it is they're very assertive in going back and working those denials and actually getting payment. I think Randy just had a conversation recently that some of what we're seeing is definitely they watch it a lot closer than if we had a third party. So she targets, I think it's 60 days is where they really want to be. And anything that gets outside of that, she's definitely on top of it and reporting it out. But I think our collections are actually much better. Reporting wise, we are definitely better. We can trend where we might be having a problem and have a conversation with those insurers or
Yeah. Is there any way to in the future to see how we're doing and what is the expected write-off that maybe there's going to be it's not collectible?
we'll,
Sure.
we'll work on some.
Any other questions? Not hearing any. Do we have a motion to accept the November 2025 year-to-date financial report?
I make a motion to approve the financial reports.
Do we have a second?
Jasmine Cookel, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Receive, discuss the financial year 2025 final financial results.
Me again. And the reason it isn't accept is because you already accepted the June 30, but we did want to bring forward a revision, I guess, now that our audit has been finalized. And we did have some adjustments. Normally, what we bring in August is pretty close to final. And now, but we did have some changes that were significant to the FQHC. So back in August, when we presented the original June financials, we actually had our revenue at 37.42 million, and we have ended at 40.32 million. And that is a swing of approximately $3 million. So during our year-end processing, we actually booked what we call a true-up within our pharmacy. We had already reported the true-up from the PPS of the major part of it that came before June 30th. But this is activity that they have to end the entire year, and then if there's a look back to the prior period, and we will either pay them more, or we get a refund, a rebate, a look back, true up. And this year we received 2 in the same year. And what we came up with is I think they have to close out all the claims before they can do the look back. Donna did a lot of research into the whole process, but we received 2 in 1 year. And they were both, it was about half for each year. And so we actually did have a significant increase in our revenue for that. And that would be recorded as charges for services. And so our net position, instead of being $5.32 million deficit in the original that we presented, is actually at 2.57. And that was the major change that we, and I think we just brought this in. So you can see the 2.5 million in the actuals for June. And so even though we don't receive an audit on the FQHC by itself because it's under the umbrella of SNHD, we did want to bring this forward because it's a significant change from what we presented to you earlier. Mindy, did you have any?
Are there any questions from the board?
If I could just add, and I could have wrote down the numbers specifically, but DJ alluded to, and as you guys well know, we have an initial budget and then we go through 2 augmentations. I believe the initial budget was projecting a loss in the $13 million range. So again, I just want to highlight, because it kind of gets lost a little bit in translation, how incredible last year was in terms of our ability to generate revenue. And some of these were one-time, occurrences, the pharmacy, the true-up dollars. But nonetheless, I think it just really speaks to the financial stewardship from the leadership team, just to make sure we made every dollar stretch as far as we can and collected every dollar that we were entitled to. So thank you, TJ.
Is there any other comments or questions from the board members? Thank you, DJ.
Thank you.
Next is receive and discuss a patient-centered medical home, PCMH overview.
And Chair, I just want to let you know that member Aceves is on the line.
Tawana is Dawn.
Yes, Don is also on the line who will be presenting the PCMH.
Excellent. So Chair, Dawn is going to be giving us an overview of PCMH. She's been working very closely with Felicia and the rest of the leadership team. This will be a high-level overview of what the patient-centered medical home program is all about, and then Felicia will conclude the presentation just with a high-level review of what our work plan looks like. Thank you. So Dawn, when you are ready, I think you're unmuted.
Don, you should be able to unmute yourself. And *6 if you're on the phone. Yeah, we can't, if you're speaking, we can't hear you, Don.
Hello.
Oh, there
Guys,
you
I'm
are.
so sorry. Just minutes before you announced my name, my computer started to malfunction. So I am so very sorry because I've been hearing you and wanting to talk and was unable to. So I can't even get my computer to work. So I had to join by phone. So I apologize. This is really odd that this happened. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I am so sorry. Goodness, that's always unfortunate when that happens. So first of all, thank you to Randy and Felicia and the rest of the team who invited me to join you today. As you guys said, my name is Dawn Gensch, and I am a consultant with the Nevada Primary Care Association. I'm just very excited that Southern Nevada Community Health Center has begun their recognition and transformation journey. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So as Randy said, this is to be a high-level overview, but true to form, I have a lot of slides. But we'll get through it all. So this is just a quick overview slide of what a couple of the highlights that I'd like to cover today. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So patient-centered medical home, or PCMH, hopefully is not a new concept to you, but if it is, hopefully over the course of today and as your health center continues in their transformation journey, the board will learn more about what it means to be a medical home, and it'll become more a common term for you. So as the slide says, it's not a place, but it is a model of primary care that is initiated to improve your health outcomes. It's really a model of care that helps primary care practices transform that delivery of primary care into a comprehensive patient-centered system that is based on high quality, accessible, coordinated care. The next slide, please. So I really like this graphic because I feel that it embodies some of the key components of a medical home and that medical home neighborhood. Each one of these terms, if you will, is really and critically important to the model and how a practice demonstrates that they are a medical home. And as I've already said, it is a systems-based approach, and it's really focused on improving quality and safety from a whole person care perspective. Next slide. The model of the functions that describe the heart of that medical home, you can see here include accessibility, continuity, patient-centered, comprehensive, and community adaptiveness or social accessibility. You know, when a medical home is functioning as the model is intended, the medical home is well organized and you have on-time visits, you have those enhanced access for your patients. You have proactive care management. You have care coordination that occurs both internally and externally across various settings within the healthcare system. And it is really patient-centered and thus customer-driven. Next slide, please. So if and when Southern Nevada Community Health Center, not really if, but when you can obtain your patient-centered medical home recognition nationally, and I'll explain that in a second what that means. You know, you will be joining other Nevada health centers as well as your colleagues across the nation. In fact, there's 80% of federally qualified health centers and lookalikes across the United States that have recognition. And in the state of Nevada, the health centers by the name of Nevada Health Centers, Community Health Alliance, Hope Christian Health Center, and Northern Nevada Hopes all have recognition. But you can see here on this list that it's just highlighting some of the reasons why, which also is tied back to the research and science behind the medical home initiative. Certainly, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid have promoted this model as one of the models to being an advanced primary care practice. Next slide, please. So the model, you know, is based historically on work done in the 1960s by the American Academy of Pediatrics and the work that they did in trying to provide coordinated, comprehensive, whole person accessible care for children with special health care needs. That then morphed into what were called the joint principles that were created by a host of different medical national organizations. And then the Commonwealth Fund has heavily invested in this model over the last few decades. After pilots were held in 2008, the National Committee for Quality Assurance, the Joint Commission, and several other organizations created a model by which a practice could demonstrate that they are a medical home. Next slide, please. So at the heart of the model and with the organization called the National Committee for Quality Assurance, the items on this slide are what is often called, often referred to as some of the cornerstones again to the transformation. So really having your patients involved with their care and having patients be satisfied with that care. Then looking at demonstrating that you are providing high value care, as well as that it's equitable and that you are taking into account the social drivers of health. And certainly as a federally qualified health center, you know that you are serving the very vulnerable patients. And so this model is one that really helps you just demonstrate the good work that you are doing. Next slide, please. So when the patient-centered medical home model came about, it's always been aligned with the great work of what was originally the triple aim, and now we talk about it as the I can't even speak, quintuple aim. So all of these aspects of that value-based care model play a role and are impacted by a primary care practice that has embraced the patient-centered medical home model. Next slide, please. So HRSA, who has designated you as a federally qualified health center, has certainly been a very big supporter and encouraged health centers to become recognized. As I mentioned earlier, most of that started as early as 2008. And over the years, HRSA has continued to support federally qualified health centers with this initiative and encouraged you to transform your practice by adopting those medical home principles features, if you will. So one of the nice things about this whole process is that HRSA does cover the costs that you specifically have with the NCQA, because they charge a per primary care provider fee for both your initial recognition and what's referred to as annual renewal recognition. Next slide, please. So this very busy slide is meant to demonstrate that when you put the patient at the center of care, and when you think about all of these various initiatives and federal requirements that are behind your health center program requirements and the operational site visit, the uniform data system that I know you're going to be reporting on for calendar year 2025 coming up on mid-February, this next month, your Federal Torts Claim Act, all the work you do around population health and closing gaps in care, as well as making sure that the work you're doing is meeting the equity needs and including the social drivers of health needs. It all aligns with the work behind those HEDIS measures and the managed care organization requirements. But again, all of that is putting the patient at the center and keeping that at the focus for your care that you're providing. Next slide, please. So as a health center, your operations and the way that you operate your clinic, the hours of accessibility, the services you provide, the way you coordinate that care, again, internally and externally, and provide comprehensive whole person care, again, aligns very well with, again, those operational site visit, UDS, and other requirements. So one of the nice things that practices recognize when they begin this transformation journey is that they're already doing a lot of the things that are part of the model of care and can hopefully then demonstrate that that they are a patient-centered medical home. Next slide, please. So NCQA, or the National Committee for Quality Assurance, is one of now 3 organizations across nationally that exist that a primary care practice can choose to utilize as a means to demonstrate that they're a medical home. Most primary care practices choose NCQA over the other options out there. And so this slide outlines a lot of information with just a few bullets. So NCQA said of all the activities that define a medical home and that a practice would demonstrate, we need to have a way of organizing that information. So again, that a practice can demonstrate that they're compliant with those activities. So NCQA has created a set of structure with concepts, competencies, criteria, and then evidence is what you produce and provide back to NCQA to prove that you're a medical home. So there are 39 core criteria, and all of those core criteria or those activities must be demonstrated in full. And there are 65 elective criteria, which you then get to choose from and obtain 25 elective criteria credits. So there is a platform online that you create an account with and you upload all of your evidence. So that would be policies and procedures, reports, patient charts, and lots of other types of evidence examples are used to demonstrate compliance with those core and elective criteria. Generally, it takes a practice 9 to 12 months to transform. And then with 3 virtual review Zoom meetings with an NCQA evaluator where you present your evidence, then it's determined whether or not you're meeting the intent of those criteria. So won't go into more details than that, but again, you're well positioned for success in that area. Next slide, please. So the NCQA concept areas, as I mentioned, that's the highest level, if you will, of the way that they've organized the model of care. There are 6 concept areas, as you can see, outlined on this slide. So let's jump to the next slide, please. This gives you kind of the next level of detail. So you have those 6 concepts still, but under each one of these concept areas, we're showing kind of the next level, kind of the competency or the bigger picture of criteria, thus activities that a practice demonstrates under each of those concept areas. Okay, next slide, please. And I'm sorry because I ended up not being in front of my computer and stepped away. I feel like I'm probably running out of time here. So the next few slides, what I've tried to do is highlight some, again, the activities that your practice will be demonstrating and is already actively doing or preparing for in regards to the team-based care and the knowing and managing your patients, which KM really has a lot of data requirements. So everything you've been doing around the use of ECW and Zara really support that the work in that KM concept area. And certainly as your organization has continued to grow and you've expanded the number of positions or the types of staff and with roles and responsibilities, you have moved into more of a team-based approach model and really setting yourself up well to meet the requirements under team-based care. Next slide, please. This is just giving you some examples around the care teams in primary care, trying to connect some of those dots again from a patient-centered perspective. Next slide, please. Under the areas of access and continuity and care management, those 2 concept areas, things around your same-day appointments, having hours outside of Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, whether that's via in-person or telehealth, all speak to requirements that you have to demonstrate with NCQA. And then care management focuses more on providing kind of a higher level of care for patients with even a higher risk. Next slide, please. Then we have some information here regarding care coordination and continuity of care, as well as quality improvement and performance management, the last 2 concept areas. So I really feel like quality improvement and continuous quality improvement is a huge cornerstone of the patient-centered medical home model, and certainly a big part of what you do and report back for UDS, the operational site visit, FTCA, et cetera. But all the great work that your quality improvement committee does around tracking clinical quality measures and other metrics aligns directly with what you have to report out to NCQA. And then the work under care coordination really is impacted by your lab and imaging, referrals to specialists, and the transitions of care when your patients are hospitalized or have an ED visit. Next slide, please. So your journey didn't start last month or even last year. It started really when you became a federally qualified health center. You have been setting yourself up for success with this transformation journey to obtain recognition. So I really want to focus you to the last 2 dots, if you will, the green and blue ones to the far right on this slide. You guys, as an organization, you have a key staff that have been engaged in completing a gap analysis with those criteria for the model patient-centered medical home. And you have an active work plan where evidence, those policies, procedures, reports, screenshots, all kinds of things are already coming together. And you have lots of things ready and prepared or in the process for that. So we anticipate that this year in 2026 that you will have that first virtual review by June of 2026, followed by a second around September of 2026, with complete recognition obtained before the end of the calendar year, which is exciting. So next, benefits. Again, some of this is a repeat. I'm not going to read all this because I think I'm out of time. But again, I perhaps got a little bit too in depth, Randy. Apologies for that, but we'll let Felicia bring it home with her updating you all on what you guys have accomplished and where you are going with your work plan. So Again, as your consultant and colleague, I am so excited for your team to obtain recognition. And if there's time for questions or anyone wants to reach me outside of this meeting today, please feel free to do so. And again, apologies for my technology problems and connection. Thank you.
Does any of the board members have any questions?
I do, but I think maybe as you go through the work plan, they might be answered. So
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, let's hurry because we got like 9 minutes.
So I'll try to make this quick. This is Felicia Scovio for the record, and just to piggyback off of Dawn's presentation, I'll be sharing with you our work plan. So this document is actually 10 pages, but I have here just a couple to show you our progress. On the very left-hand side, we have listed all of our criterion. 39 of them are core. Those are, of course, required. And then of the 65 electives that were available, we decided to, as a group, move forward with 22 of those. So we have those listed in their appropriate sections and concept areas. And for the 22 electives, that adds up to about 34 credits. So that gives us more than enough room to meet our recognition. On here, we also see our transfer credits. So if any of the elective credits have associated transfer credits as part of the recognition. And then we also have tentatively assigned members and leads for the criteria. So if there's something that we're working on, there's one person that's leading the initiative and members that are associated with completing it. And then on the very right-hand side, we have our kind of like the deadline column. It's not a hard deadline per se, just because this is a living document and we are working through things, but it actually gives us an idea of when we should have the documented processes and evidence kind of compiled for submission in the QPAS portal. So if in that column it says 1, that means we are reserving that item for virtual review 1. And then if it says 2, that means we are reserving that item for virtual review 2. And then if the line is grayed out, that means we have that completed. If it's in white, it's still pending. And then at the very bottom, you see a summary of what we have completed. So far for the core criteria, we have 13 completed. And then for the electives, we have 10, several in progress, and then more we will be starting. So that's kind of what our work plan looks like. And this is just another page of that work plan as well.
Do any of the board members have any questions?
I do have a question. So thank you for the presentation, and I'm excited to see you all moving forward with this. When I look at the requirements, it seems like it's going to be pulling a lot of data to show that you're meeting all these requirements. Do you feel like your EHR has the capacity to do that? Or do you have to add a bunch of components at this point?
Right now, we're using our Azara population health software, and a lot of the components that are required by PCMH are already in there in Azara, same thing as ECW. So on the work plan, wherever you saw that there was a transfer credit, those are pre-validated vendors that we're getting credit for. A lot of their systems are just built to provide these data points. So yeah, I hope that answered the
Yes,
question.
thank you.
Is there any other questions? Not hearing any. We're moving on. Board reports.
Thank
Any
you.
board members have anything to report? Not hearing any. Randy, you got 5 minutes.
I'm not sure if Dawn's still on, but just wanted to say thank you, Dawn, for that great presentation and overview of PCMH. Dawn has been a great asset to us. And I had the opportunity to meet her right when I started, and this has been a journey for us along the way, and I'm excited for what we're doing with PCMH. So we will do some more report outs as we make our progress throughout this year. I just wanted to give a couple of highlights for this last calendar year because we saw from DJ the great financial outcome. Well, this is showing on the program side. Last calendar year, 13,305 unique patients were served with a visit from a licensed independent practitioner, right? Doctors, mid-levels, behavioral health. This is our all-time best, which came on top of last year, which was our previous all-time best. So just incredibly proud of the work that the team is doing. We're certainly meeting the intent of HRSA's goals in terms of serving our community. Obviously, last year being a very challenging year, we did have some force reduction because we've been on a hiring freeze. So this work we've been able to accomplish even with fewer staff. So really just grateful for our team members. Just a couple of highlights. Same day and walk-in visits really has been a standout for us. Think about really trying to create open access to our patients. Sometimes when we try to have patients use a traditional appointment-based, model, we struggle with no-shows. So this has been a really great tool that we've been leveraging, and I'll be interested in sharing more as we continue to expand that. Integrated care is another piece of it. Of course, this is a real strong connection with medical and behavioral health, but it also could be medical and nutritional health. So looking for those opportunities while patients are here to be able to meet more than one of their needs. And then care team capacity, right? So as I shared, we've been down some employees. We've been able to achieve these great results. And so we continue to work through Dr. Carter, our medical director, and through the site managers to just try to create as much efficiency within our workflows to extract as much capacity within reason from our team members. And we've been successful. So just some great highlights. Second bullet point concerns our Medicaid. We've talked a lot about our imbalance in our payer mix and some of the challenges that we see when we have a disproportionately high number of uninsured patients. And so our goal, of course, has been to be able to even that out by trying to grow the insurance line, particularly the Medicaid side. And so we saw a 7% increase in the number of Medicaid patients served this last year compared to the previous, which is outstanding. We had a goal for this calendar year to reach 5% increase in our Medicaid visits. Unfortunately, we fell 52 visits short from that. That being said, we still did 104% of what we did the previous year. And I think what's really important is we learned a lot from last year's experience. One area, of course, that we're looking to do is continue to grow new members, and with the insurance companies take on new members and welcome them into the practice. But we've spent a lot of time too, and this really fits well with PCMH, is closing care gaps. Right? Members who are coming in, maybe they're coming in because they're not feeling well, but they've got a variety of other preventative care, gaps that could be closed. And so trying to identify those ahead of time and then coordinate that care, because that's bringing in someone that's already engaged with us, and whether we're able to do it in that visit or a subsequent visit, it's creating that opportunity to increase the quality of care. And that's also a very important metric. So all really good things from that highlight. Now, 2026 is starting off in many ways like 2025 was for us on the funding piece. So we are facing a potential government shutdown at the end of the month. Along with the government shutdown, all of the health centers funding, so this is both the mandatory and the discretionary funding, ends. And so I did join with the Nevada Primary Care Association as well as the FQHC CEOs across Nevada, and we did have some virtual meetings with our congressional representatives just to let them know what was going on and how much we needed support to continue being able to fund these very important programs. And so I think our message was well received, and I think the need is well understood. We did receive a notice of award, which I'm very happy because it just came in last week. So the health center's funding period expires at the end of this month. And so we did receive a new notice of award for 6 months of funding. So that gave us a little bit of breathing room, knowing that, as not sure what's going to happen at the end of this month, but we know we've got funding that's going to take us into next year. We're still very much unsure with Title X. The funding period for this grant ends on the 31st of March. Typically, we would have already submitted our renewal grants called the non-competing continuance. But there's not been actually any additional guidance from Title X. They're not sure when that guidance will be forthcoming. And so what we've done is we have submitted an application through Grant Solutions in the space that we know where to submit, with the guidance that we received last. And so this is one that we're very much looking at and will continue to monitor closely. On the pharmacy side, the 340B rebate pilot